Good morning, everybody. I am making a video this morning about a subject that is both taboo and also has a lot of questions by people. There's a lot of folks out there that have questions about this subject. I went ahead and wrote this down rather than just go ahead and doing this free. So you'll notice I'm not staring directly at the camera. But I wanted to be clear about my stand on this subject. Steroids and sport enhancing drugs, they're rampant throughout so many sports, and I will say that I personally am not necessarily against steroids or any of those things. I think that there's a time and a place that if you're looking to perform at a certain level, you really don't have a choice, and that if you're willing to take on those risks, then that should be your choice. I don't think that it's unfair necessarily. I think that if you're going to be competed at a certain level, it's expected, and if you're going to be able to continue to compete at that level, you have to be willing to take those things and to accept those consequences, and you just need to be smart about how you approach it and be calculated and do everything you can to mitigate those risks. I don't think that these athletes out here that are taking these are bad people. I think that they have a dream that they want to accomplish, and I think that they're willing to do whatever it takes for that fame and for that glory. And I don't question that whatsoever. In fact, there's a lot of folks out there that, the only reason they take those things is so they can perform at that level. It's not that they want to cheat. It's not that they don't have a great amount of potential already. What they see is they see that they have that potential, and they know that by taking these things, they can take that potential to the next level. And and it's not just about being big and strong. The recovery, the ability for your body to continue to train at extremely high levels and perform at extremely high levels for long periods of time. You look at some of these athletes, most of these athletes, whether it's cyclists or football players, bodybuilders, powerlifters, whatever, your body cannot maintain that type of high activity and that kind of strain for decades. You see people who are cyclists who are in their 40s, they're making guys who are in their 20s look, pathetic. They're just smoking them. And that's not typical. It's not. Or football players playing, professional football for, 10, 15 years. And yeah, they come out of it beat up, but I barely made it through 4 years of high school playing football, and the injuries plagued me so bad. I can't imagine doing it as a pro for that long. And I wanted to speak about this topic. I think it's a very important topic for people to hear about and to think about, and I'd be more than happy to talk about it. I'm no expert. I myself have never taken these things, so I can't speak from firsthand experience, having taken them or not taking them. But what I can speak to is what I've seen, and for my own personal views on it. So I'm gonna go ahead and read through this, and I hope that it's interesting to you guys. And if you have comments, please post them below. I'm sure there's folks that are going to disagree with me, and there's folks that are going to agree with me. This isn't the type of subject where you're going to have everybody on the same side, not even close. So something I've asked countless times is about steroids and if I've ever used them. I have never once tried them, though I'll admit the temptation has been there from day one. I am one of those folks who thrives in the pursuit of accomplishing what others cannot, and I am well aware that steroids and other performance-enhancing drugs would offer a greater yield in my results while decreasing the years needed to grow the body of my dreams. Why have I not tried them? Well, for one, I've almost always been too broke to fork out the money. But beyond the financial costs, there are a great number of associated costs with acquiring, using, and living after you've taken steroids or any other drug for that matter. They're illegal, which means that you will be getting them from a drug dealer and risk being sold poor quality product or even being duped entirely, not to mention you go to jail, obviously. B, there are many health risks associated with taking any hormone or stimulant, and those need to be addressed and monitored closely. C, and probably most importantly, my wife would straight divorce my butt if I started taking steroids or any other drug. In my several years as a bodybuilding enthusiast and occasional competitor, the temptation to try the juice has always been there. I would love to see what I could accomplish after a good 6 to 12 months of cycling some high quality tests, a little GH, and then some clenbuterol to cut up afterwards. However, I know that after the first gains, I started to show I'd be addicted for life and I'd never be able to go back to natural bodybuilding again. There is a level of responsibility that goes along with taking the next step that I've never been committed to. If I were to take steroids, I would have to be working towards becoming a pro bodybuilder with his eye on the Mr. Olympia title. To me, there is either all in or no reason to even start. Aiming for that goal would be a dream come true for me, but it would also mean putting every other dream and person in my life on the back burner, because there is no such thing as a pro bodybuilder and a family man. You can do your best to accomplish this, but there is rarely a super successful bodybuilder who hasn't been divorced because of their complete selfishness during training and competition. If they were able to do this, it is likely that the spouse is also a competitor or is willing to endure a lot of neglect. The health risks are real. There are a lot of folks out there who have taken steroids and other hormones and never had any life-threatening results, but often that is from not taking them for long durations and also not taking large dosages. Is there a right and wrong way to take steroids? Abso-freaking-lutely. I'll use Rich Piana as a prime example of someone who knew better but chose to take insane amounts of steroids and God knows what else in order to be a super freak. He made a name for himself, built a very successful fitness brand and social media following, and his fans all over the world. He also died last year, surprise, surprise, from his years of drug and steroid use. I'll be honest, Rich was very knowledgeable and wasn't afraid to tell it like it is. I think that is why he had so many fans and followers. But I think Rich wasn't just taking steroids to be huge, he had a legit addiction, and like many addicts, he became self-destructive. You don't think he knew that he was playing with matches and gasoline? Rich didn't just walk the razor's edge, but he would regularly jump across it into a danger zone and would video it and share it with his fans. The message that these folks were getting is that steroids aren't as dangerous as everyone says, and that you can be a monster too if you want to by eating a 10,000 calorie a day diet, doing 8-hour arm workouts, and taking 3 to 5 times higher dosages of testosterone than anyone else out there. It is too bad that he passed away. He had the opportunity to really help people by using his experience and knowledge to be a role model, but now he's dead and has left behind a slippery slope for those who followed his teachings without truly understanding the consequences. If I were to take steroids and other enhancement drugs, I would be very precise and calculated about how I approach it. I do believe that by closely monitoring your hormones, vitals, and adjusting dosages correctly that you can be done safely and minimize the negative side effects as much as possible. That being said, it would take research, reliable source for the drugs, a good physician to help monitor my health, and patience to find the right dosages that allow for increased results and minimal amounts of drugs. I would monitor my hormone levels before starting a cycle, during, and after each cycle to ensure that I was not taking too much and to learn exactly where that sweet spot is for my body to grow. Most people don't know that testosterone is typically not where the side effects come from. It's actually from your body trying to keep an equilibrium and raising other hormone levels in your body as well. Estrogen, for instance, will increase, causing breast tissue growth and can lead to depression. Taking growth hormone can also cause issues with many regulating hormones like insulin. One thing that always happens when you take hormones is your body slows or even stops its natural production of those hormones. A very good friend of mine took tests in college and grew to be a massive 280 pounds. He had the genetics to be a good bodybuilder, but he started having issues with blood clots and was hospitalized more than once. He ultimately had to stop taking steroids or he was going to die, and had to take blood thinners the rest of his life. The low testosterone levels after coming off the test stayed with him for years, increasing his natural depression that he already had, and eventually led to his suicide. It is a true tragedy that he is gone. Not only was it attributed to the steroid use, but it was definitely connected to his naturally occurring issues that he had as well, and it just exacerbated those things. He was very honest with me about taking steroids and told me he'd be happy to tell me all he knew and that I shouldn't take them. I'm glad I listened to him. I also see a lot of young athletes starting steroids in high school because they want to be the next athlete star or bodybuilding prodigy. What saddens me about this is that most likely these are being provided by either a coach or a parent, fully knowing the dangers associated. The dangers are even higher when someone is still so young. For some people it pays off, they grow to be great athletes and make a name for themselves, but for most of them, they never make it pro and they find themselves living with the negative side effects with nothing to show for it. Not ever taking steroids for me, I'm far from being an expert on the subject, and if you're serious about taking them, please find someone who can mentor you. Preferably a bodybuilder or powerlifter who has been in the sport for many years and not had a bunch of health scares. Also, do your own research from credible sources, not just the bros on social media channels. Know and understand the risks and ensure that you do all you can to mitigate those risks. If you are still unsure, you probably shouldn't take them because it's a lifetime commitment, not just something you do on a whim. Be safe, be smart, and do what's right for you. I hope that this will speak to some of you who are on the edge of deciding whether you're going to take these, or maybe some of you that are currently taking steroids. And then for all of you guys out there like me who they want to be a very successful lifter and bodybuilder, but they're just not willing to take that next step because it's just not worth it to them. You know, for me, it's always been something that I've struggled with because it almost guarantees, you know, great results, you know, and I know that I have the work ethic and the discipline and the knowledge to exploit that to its full potential if I were to do it. I could become huge, you know, I could probably gain 20, 30, or 40 pounds of muscle within a couple of years, and it would totally change my physique. I mean, I like how I look now, but I can tell you I'd like it a lot more to be that big, you know, and it's in a way it's a bit of a sickness to be drawn to being so extreme, but that's how I am. That's who I am. That's who a lot of people are. They don't want to be normal. They want to stand out. They want to be way above and beyond everybody else out there, and they like the idea of being the biggest dude in the room or the strongest guy in the gym. And you know that it's the temptation's there, and if that's your goal, like I said, be smart. Just don't jump into anything. Make sure, for one, that you've been training for a long time before you do that. One thing that people don't think about is the fact that your body is going to grow in strength and size so quickly when you start taking growth hormone and testosterone and any other, you know, enhancement drugs that are meant for that. You're going to grow faster than your joints and your muscle and your joints and your bones can actually keep up. And that's why you see so many people, they're tearing tendons, they're tearing ligaments, they're literally breaking bones, because they're pushing their bodies so hard and so fast that their body's own natural growth can't keep up. You know, yeah, their muscles are growing and they're humongous, and yeah, they can move the weight, but what is it doing to their body in the meantime? And you know, so just keep it in mind. If you're going to do this, you know, be somebody who's already experienced, who's been lifting for at least a couple years, if not several. Be someone who understands what you need to do as far as your nutrition and your workouts, your recovery, all those things, so that if you're going to do this, you do it in a way that hopefully you won't have a bunch of negative side effects and hurt yourself. Lord knows there's plenty of people who competed as pro bodybuilders or pro powerlifters, and once they were done, they cleaned up, you know, they got off the drugs, they took care of themselves, and now they'll probably live long lives. But there's also so many examples of people who just wrecked their lives, you know, and it's real, you know, it's not something to play with, and it's something you need to be aware of and do your research. And if you do try it, don't jump in both feet and head on and not think about how you're going to adjust or adapt if things don't go how you expect them to go. You know, if you're not growing like you think, don't just double your dosage. You know, make sure the other things are on point too. Make sure that you're eating right and you're training right. You know, it's like I said, you know, you need a mentor, somebody who can be there for you and, you know, take you through it safely as it can be, and help you mitigate the risks while getting the most reward. I truly believe that if you want to be great at anything, you have to be a student of what you're doing. You have to teach yourself and learn from others and watch and you know, do research, read articles, and try things, you know, and you know, get in the gym and try exercises that maybe you're not comfortable with, or work on improving your quality of the reps that you're doing, and building up a baseline foundation before you ever consider taking steroids or anything else. I just hope that you guys hear what I'm really trying to say. I'm not saying, that steroids are evil, and I'm also not saying that they're perfect and that they're not bad for you either. Just like anything, if you take things in excess and you abuse them and you're not smart about what you're doing, there's a lot of risk involved. You know, for some people, it's worth the risk. And if that's you, just be smart about it and go for it. I'm not gonna say that if you want to be Mr. Olympia that you're gonna get there without it, because you're not. If you want to be the world's strongest man, you're not gonna get there without steroids. You're just not. I'm sorry. You can have all the talent in the world, and you cannot compete with someone who can, actually increase the number of muscle fibers, not just the size of their fibers, and who can recover 2 to 3 times faster than you, and will use the food they eat 2 to 3 times more efficiently for growing muscle. You're going against somebody that you can't compete against. Maybe at the low levels of competition, if you're in college maybe, or you're young, you can beat those people by hard work and being good at what you do. But if you're at the pro level, good luck, man. I mean, it's just reality. So I understand why people take them. I do, and I'm not against them, because I like watching those sports too. I like seeing the people that are super freaky. I love seeing the world's strongest man pick up 1,000 pounds and make it look easy. I love seeing guys like Ronnie Coleman get on stage with paper thin skin, no body fat, and almost 300 pounds. It's so impressive, and it's incredible because you don't see that. And I understand and appreciate what it took for those guys to get that. It's not just from taking the drugs. You could take steroids and never accomplish crap. So don't think that they're just going to be your magical answer either. All they do is they enhance your hard work, they enhance what you're eating, and they make the results more readily attainable. My Piper, my cat Piper's trying to get it on the video. I'm going to go ahead and get off before she walks in front of the camera. Thank you for listening. Please subscribe to my channel. And if you have questions or comments, please add them in. And please keep watching my videos. I'm going to continue to post these on other controversial subjects and other just subjects that I've always seen a lot of people ask questions about and that I have knowledge about. So thank you, and I appreciate your time.